Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to this curtain raiser press conference on the Garib, Kalyan, Rojgar Abhiyaan, which is going to be launched on the 20th of June by the Honorable Prime Minister. And to brief you in detail on the subject, we have with us Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharamanji, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Labour and Employment, Shri Santosh Gangwar ji. My warm welcome to Honorable Ministers. My warm welcome to Advisor to Prime Minister Shri Amarjit Sinha and Secretary Rural Development Shri Anand Sinha. The format of today's press conference will be like this. First of all, the Honorable Finance Minister will give opening remarks, followed by a PowerPoint presentation by Secretary Rural Development. Lastly, we will take some questions. And please follow the points of order. A gentle request to keep your mobiles either on silent mode or switch off mode. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm quite honored to come here to present some details. It's almost as it is called, a curtain raiser on a very important Abhiyaan which the Prime Minister is launching on the 20th. I have the Honorable Minister taking care of the Labour Affairs. Minister Rural Development was also expected to join, but from a different location, however. I think there is a bit of a difficulty in him joining us. So in his absence, I'm here to do this press more as a curtain raiser to the launching of the Garib Kalyan Rojgar Abhiyaan by the Prime Minister on the 20th. What I will do to start with is to give you a broad picture of what exactly is this. All of us are aware that workers from all over the country, Shramik, men, women, after some stages during the lockdown, wanted to go back to their villages, and both the state and central governments tried making a lot of arrangements, giving them trains, buses, and so on. So they have gone back. We have, from Government of India, together with the state governments, seen which are the districts to which they largely have returned. The slide presentation, which will be presented by Shri Amarjit Sinha, the Secretary Rural Development, will actually get into the details of which are those districts to which Shramik in large numbers have returned. We are able to say approximately 116 districts have received big numbers of them. The exact numbers and other things will be shared. 116 districts. They are spread over 6 states in all. Not to say that there may not be others going to other states, but largely the 116 districts that we have identified have received large number of them, substantial number of them. And those 116 districts are spread over 6 states. The details will be given during the slide presentation. Now, in those districts, both state and the central government have very meticulously mapped the skills of these people, skill sets, whether they are totally unskilled or partly skilled, largely those who have worked in construction and such areas in urban centers where they were, and so on. So they have reached some mapping of their skill sets have been done. Now, what this Abhiyaan, which the Prime Minister will be launching from the Khagaria district in Bihar on 20th, will do is now within 125 days. Nearly 25 schemes of the government are all going to be brought together. And within those 125 days, we shall reach saturation levels for each of those schemes So if it was a Jal Jeevan mission, or if it was anything to do with, laying of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, or building Awas Yojana, and so on. Awas Yojana, which gives houses for the poor, but if there are activities related to that which requires labor component, they will also be brought. Like that, there are 25 works of Government of India, in which all the 25 being brought together for those districts where we have identified this number of Shramik who have gone back. Everyone who needs the assignment will be given the jobs, and under the 25 different works, the objectives which have to be achieved will be achieved using the Shramik who are there having returned from different parts of the country. The monies which have been allotted to these projects, budgeted amounts, and if necessary anything more, will all be added together. At the moment, broad total that I can disclose to you all, it's about 50,000 crores. We are pooling all these from the 25 different projects, bringing it together so that at the district level, in these 116 districts, for those 25 projects, Shramik who have returned will all be used to complete those projects within this 125 days. There are some which are going to get affected by monsoon, such as laying of roads, which may extend further. There are some which are post-monsoon activities, which may also continue after that. But largely, on a broad indicator, we want to front-load the monies allotted for these 25 different works for those 116 districts, some of whom are aspirational districts, and ensure that all those Shramik in those districts are going to be given employment. And therefore, for them, for the next 4 months, we are clearly showing a direction through which their skills, their man days, person days will be used so that assets will be created in those districts, whether it is digging of wells, poultry sheds, or laying of Gram Sadak Yojana roads, or building some panchayat, buildings. Like for instance, yesterday, we had announced from the Finance Ministry that we have released the 15th Finance Commission recommended monies for the local bodies. So with all those monies going to the villages now, with these Shramik being used for activities, concrete activities through which assets can be created, Shramik get their work, their livelihood is ensured. Asset creating activities at the district level, considering that many of them are aspirational districts. The objective of rural development will also get fulfilled. And I'm glad to say, to recall, that in our budget and also during the announcement, during Atmanirbhar Abhiyaan announcements, we had come up with the viability gap funding for building agriculture-related infrastructure, for ensuring that those farmer-producer organizations will go into the villages to create agri-processing units. Now, all of them are being brought together so that there's a synergy. Monies are being pooled in towards asset creation with a time limit given, and Shramik can be sure that where they have gone back, they have work given to them. This is a broad picture. I won't take too much of time to start my intervention. I request the Secretary, Rural Development, to show you the details of what exactly this is, how it's going to pan out. Post that, of course, we are ready for your questions. Thank you.
Clearly articulating the philosophy behind the Garib, Kalyan, Rojgar Abhiyaan, which aims at providing meaningful livelihoods to the migrant workers who have gone back to the districts of their origin, as well as those who are there and similarly affected. So I'll provide the necessary detail because Madam has already very clearly articulated the philosophy and overall context in which the Abhiyaan is to work. Madam, before I begin, I should also add that during this period after the pandemic and after the lockdowns were announced, our Gram Panchayats and our SHGs have done wonderful work, ma'am, and I should say some statistics which will illuminate the kind of work that they have done. SHGs have made about 16 crore masks, madam, which have provided to the corona warriors by the different states. They have made lakhs of liters of sanitizers and hand wash, and they have run about 10,000 community kitchens. So very good work they have been done, and similarly our Gram Panchayats have also been at the forefront of fighting corona. They have set up quarantine centers, they have enforced the health ministry advisories. So with all this background and with all the kind of the administrative and Panchayati Raj machinery there and them all working together, we are confident that this Abhiyaan would be in a position to cater to the needs of employment and jobs, and thereby also lay the foundation for a more prosperous work later on. So the Abhiyaan is of a duration of about 125 days. It will be taken up in 116 districts where more than 25,000 migrants have returned. 25 works, as Madam had already mentioned, and the combined outlay of the 25 different kind of works and the program that it draws from is about 50,000 crores. You can see the districts which, to which this Abhiyaan will extend, and they have been shown on the map of the India, but if you see the state-wise coverage, so in total about 116 districts are there, and they extend over 6 states, and out of these about 27 are aspirational districts in which the government's program for all-round growth, particularly focusing on health, nutrition and education, is already working. So as we mentioned, the focus is on 25 works, and one of them is to start with these community sanitary complexes, which caters for sanitation needs for the people who, because of lack of space in their own houses, are not able to utilize the sanitary facilities. Then Gram Panchayat Bhavan. Finance Commission grants also provides for development of village infrastructure as well as productive infrastructure. So those works are also included. The national highway works going on there are also included within the program. The idea is to cater to the different kind of skill needs of people who have arrived, and as Madam mentioned, that skill surveys have been ongoing, and through which the kind of skill that these migrant workers possess have been determined. I should mention to you that a very large majority of them are skilled. In a survey in the state of Bihar, they found that about 3/4 of them are skilled persons. Many of them, of course, belong to the construction work sector, but many of them also bring other skills, and the idea of including all these kind of works is to cater to the employment needs of all the different kind of people. So construction of wells, plantations, also Campa funds under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change will also be utilized. Then horticultural activities will also be taken up. Anganwadi centers are important public infrastructure in the rural areas where the Anganwadis are housed, and their availability is necessary for the functioning of the Anganwadis. Then rural housing under the Prime Minister Awas Yojana Gramin. The rural connectivity through the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana and border road works are also an important work. Railways take up activities throughout the length and breadth of the country, and In some of the districts included under the Abhiyaan, the railways are also working, so they will also be participating in the Abhiyaan. The urban mission aims at those rural areas which are taking the shape of the urban areas in terms of population density, in terms of the change of character of employment. So we have a program, and these works would also be undertaken in the Abhiyaan districts. Pradhan Mantri Kusum program works at activation of the solar pump sets in the rural areas. So these would also be undertaken. The idea was to diversify and develop livelihoods. Fiber optic cable under BharatNet improves the electronic connectivity of the information highway connectivity of the Gram Panchayats. Works under Jal Jeevan Mission aim at providing tap water connectivity to the villages and the habitations. Pradhan Mantri Urja Ganga project aims at providing gas pipeline connectivity also to some villages for development of industries. KVKs would provide training and skill development of people who want to take up employment and livelihoods under the agri-livelihood area. District mineral funds all are also a versatile source of funds for taking up different activities, be it for development of infrastructure, drinking water supply, energy supply, and all vast majority of areas. Solid and liquid waste management are also important area undertaken through variety of program funds. Farm ponds, cattle sheds, goat sheds, poultry sheds, vermicomposting are important for livelihood. So these are 25 main categories of works, but these do not preclude other activities which will be taken up under different programs. So Honorable Prime Minister will launch it at 11 a.m. on 20th June from the district of Khagaria. The village is known as Telihar, and the location is Panchayat Bhavan there. Thank you.
If you have any questions, you could raise your hand. And yes, please, 13.
Ma'am, Timsi Puria, this side from CNBC. My question is that since government has mapped the skills of various laborers, how many number of workers do you expect to give jobs under this Rojgar Abhiyaan? And why only just 125 days? Why not even for remaining days of the year? Because it is expected that these people would take time to come back to wherever they were, because this is also going to impact the manufacturing activity a lot in the country, because they are not going to return back to the factories since they'll be provided employment in the areas where they've gone back in the native places. So what will be the impact on manufacturing, and how many workers are you planning to give employment?
The first priority when we say Pradhan Mantri Rojgar Abhiyaan is to deal with the immediate requirement of those workers who have gone back to their respective districts, and therefore to provide them a livelihood as soon as they are there now already. Some of them would have been there now for 15-20 days. So this whole idea of getting so many different schemes which have a rural component to be focused on the workers who have reached there, so that they are immediately utilized and immediately provided with a livelihood. So that's been the primary objective with which we are doing this. Why only 125 days and not more? 120 days translates to 4 months. At least for the next 4 months, we are giving them a clear, concrete blueprint with which they will be engaged. As we go along, we'll have to see how even many of them would want to be there or want to go back. As they go on, we'll have to take it further. So there is just no reason to think that they will continue, all of them will continue to stay, or just no equally a reason to think that all of them will go away. So the government has come with this solid, all sort of comprehensive blueprint so that they at least immediately provided a livelihood. As we go along, and since I'm also very clearly laying it out that activities which are otherwise spread over 6 months to 1 year, we'll front load now itself so that there is no dearth of money has to be released, utilization has to be provided, and then the flow of money also makes it slower. None of that will hamper these 120 days. And as we go along, we'll have to see how many of them are going to stay back and how many would want to go in search of jobs elsewhere. So we'll have to take it as we go along. It's too early for me to comment on the impact on manufacturing, given the fact that first, today, many of them who have gone back are in their places rather than in the place where they were earlier employed. Industries are also doing a lot of reset for themselves. As you know, you're probably aware, I've been engaging with all different industry associations to understand how they are planning and starting to work. Many of them have reported to me that they are already running at 45 to 50% capacity. This is about last week that I'm talking. They're gradually increasing. So we'll have to see how industry is going to plan for either drawing them back or thinking of something else. We'll have to go along. As we go along, we'll be able to get a picture.
Number 26.
Ma'am, why the states like West Bengal is not there? Is there something like the states were not interested in this?
Well, I don't think it is related to a state which did or did not. Majority of those who went about, has the secretary got anything more to say on this?
So the West Bengal at the time when the program was being drawn up, as you are also aware that till 15 June it was already taking in the migrant workers. They hadn't already concluded. So at the time when we drew up the contours of the program, the number of migrant workers had not been settled in those Bengal district, and also then they had. So the fact that we have a cutoff of 25,000 persons per district to take a district in. There is no bar to other districts joining in this initiative. So if we get the numbers, we'll certainly include them. So there is no. 25.
At least 25,000 in a district, we readily took those districts up. And as and when if there is a state which has got some data coming later, we open. Yes, in the 116 districts that we've given you, in each district, at least 25,000 workers have gone back. And that is the unit which we have taken. The district with 25,000 workers having reached those districts are the ones which make up for the 116.
Number 33.
मैम मैं शैलेश हूँ एएनआई से। जैसे आपने बोला कि 25,000 श्रमिकों को जो है रोज़गार दिया जाएगा, और स्टेट्स में जैसे संख्या जो आ रही है कि किसी स्टेट्स में 3 लाख श्रमिक वापस गए, किसी में 4 लाख, उस डेली आंकड़े आते रहते हैं। तो क्या ये 25 लाख का जो कैप आपने अभी बताया इस फिगर?
नहीं, आप क्षमा कीजिए, इसका स्पष्टीकरण करना चाह रही हूँ मैं। 25,000 in a district. इसीलिए मैप में आपको दिखाया गया कि उत्तर प्रदेश में बहुत सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स थे, उनका नंबर भी आपको, बिहार में 32 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स है, हर एक में कम से कम 25,000 हम बोल रहे हैं कि माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स गए हैं, हर एक में 25,000 का सेटलमेंट होने का इंफॉर्मेशन है, इसीलिए उस डिस्ट्रिक्ट में 25,000, ऐसे करके 32 डिस्ट्रिक्ट बिहार में, उत्तर प्रदेश में 31 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स है, हर एक में मिनिमम 25,000 है, उससे ज्यादा भी हो सकता है कहीं कहीं एक एक जिला में। ऐसे करके आपको 116 जिले में हर एक में 25,000 के नंबर में हम कैलकुलेट करते जाना। ये नहीं है कि सिर्फ 25,000 कुल मिलाकर के उत्तर प्रदेश के लिए दे रहे हैं, नहीं, एक जिला में कम से कम 25,000 का संख्या है हमारे पास।
तो मैम ये संख्या क्या बढ़ सकती है अगर आगे जो है हम
बढ़ सकते हैं अगर नंबर के मुताबिक कोई और 10-15 छूट गए वो ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, परवाह नहीं, उसको भी जोड़ लेंगे। ये नहीं है कि हमारे 25,000 ही हमारे नंबर है, उससे ज्यादा कोई उस डिस्ट्रिक्ट में पहुंचे तो उनको छोड़ जाएंगे, नहीं, ये हम मिनिमम 25,000 का नंबर लेकर के कर रहे हैं, ज्यादा आने में और उनको भी जोड़ लेते हैं।
154.
Ma'am, Paulami from India Today. My question one, obviously there's a lot of confusion about the numbers. So I just, because from the data which the secretary's group put together for the 116 districts, like a district like Siddharth Nagar had over 1,600,000 migrants who had returned, which was the highest number, if I'm not mistaken, about the data about this. So how many per district, what is the total number, if not per district, what is the total number who will get these livelihood opportunities under this program, under this Abhiyaan, which will be launched by the Prime Minister? Also, secondly, also, I wanted to understand about, this is about livelihood opportunities, what about skill set training as well? Because the Skill Development Ministry is also looking at training people. They've started the Swadesh program at airports where they're taking down details of migrants who are returning from Gulf countries, etc. So what about training them and giving them jobs?
Follow me, let me be clear here. I've explained to you that I'm talking about 25,000 at least in a district for us to start off with. And in that we've said 116 districts. Now, I have not put it out, nor was it shown here, but just for you, because you were asking specific districts. For instance, in Uttar Pradesh, Siddharth Nagar is what you quoted. Our figure is about, did you say Siddharth Nagar? Yeah. Siddharth Nagar, our figure is 1,61,796. Like that, for each of the districts, we have numbers based on what we've collected through proper survey. Now, the focus is, like rightly when the secretary presented his details, he said, we've included the KVKs. Why have we included KVKs? Because in agri-related activities, if there are people who need to be trained, who are willing to go through this training, KVKs are being brought in more for giving them the skills, particularly in agri-related matters. Now, the Swadesh portal that you're referring to, into which a lot of expats came in, and they have immediately, even at the airport, given their details, and they've been mapped accordingly. A different set of things may apply, because now in this case, clearly the 116 districts, where workers moving from one part of India to the other part, which is their native places, are the ones who are being focused. In this, clearly, we are not talking about expats who have come into the country from, let us say, the Middle East or any other part. That portal, which is specifically looking at people who are coming from outside, with their skill sets getting mapped through that portal, they will be attended to in a different way. But this one clearly relates to those workers, skilled, partly skilled, unskilled, largely partly skilled and largely unskilled, are the ones on which this whole presentation and the launch by the Prime Minister is going to happen on the 20th. So that's a different portal which talks about expats from overseas. I have it by district. I have not made a total of it. I'm sure we'll make it available for you.
Once you share the details, that would be
that's the
great,
point
so
I'm
that we
talking.
come to know how many people are there in each district which have been.
Of course, we'll try to share it. No, not a problem at all. We'll share that.